What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at the average net worth by age and the income that goes alongside that. Let's get on into it. The data taken for the average net worth by age was taken straight from the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, which is a survey the Federal Reserve puts on every 3 years, and they compile it to see the average net worth per age decade. And the data for the average annual wage was taken from Forbes. Before we take a deep dive into the numbers, first we have to take a look at what actually is net worth and how does that break down. So your net worth is calculated by taking the things that you own on one side and then subtracting everything that you owe. So things that you own, maybe your house, maybe your car, maybe the balance in your 401k. And then things that you owe could be any debts that you have, maybe a mortgage or an auto loan or student loans. And that's how you calculate net worth. You take the things that you own, subtract the things that you owe, and then the difference is your net worth. Starting off with my people, everybody in their 20s, we have a median net worth of $25,788. And to go alongside that, our annual salaries are anywhere between $38,324 to $52,936 per year. So for those of you in your 20s, you probably just graduated college, maybe you just started a job and you just got your feet into the workforce. And the reason that this number is so low is that a ton of people in their 20s have a lot of money in student loans, which really brings down that net worth number. And to go along with that, once you enter the workforce, your annual salary is not going to be as good as people say in their 40s or 50s. And so both of those things combined lead to a lower net worth. But here's some tips to help you out. Now, tip number one is pretty self-explanatory, but in order to make this a more comprehensive video, I've got to say it. If you don't already, go get a job. You've got to make some sort of income to grow your net worth. So if you don't have a job right now, you're not helping yourself out at all, so go get one. For me personally, I've had 7 jobs so far and I'm only 21 years old. And speaking from experience, I haven't regretted a single job that I've ever taken, even though some of them kind of sucked, Walmart. But even with that job, I was making money, I was young, I was having a good time doing it. So if you don't have a job, go out and get one, go start making that income. Tip number 2 is gonna be, if you don't have one already, go and open up a credit card. Now, a couple of things that I recommend is get a credit card with no annual fee. And if it's your first credit card, the Discover It secured credit card is probably your best bet. And then once you have a credit card, the best way to build your credit score is gonna be to put small purchases on it every month, just a couple percentage points of your overall credit limit. I have a whole video I did on credit cards explaining the whole process, and I'll have that link down below in the description, so go check that out. But just putting small purchases on every month and paying it off in full on time will help your credit score. And then tip number 3 is gonna be to open up a Roth IRA and start contributing as much money as possible as you can into this every single year. Ideally, you wanna be maxing out this account, and starting in 2024, you'll be able to put $7,000 every single year into your Roth IRA. And the beauty of this account is all of that money that you've gained in your Roth IRA is gonna be tax-free. And if you start at age 20, maxing out your Roth IRA at $7,000 per year, up until you hit age 65, you'll have $2.14 million within your Roth IRA, all tax-free to use at your disposal. So what are you waiting for? Go out, open a Roth IRA, and start contributing today. Moving on to what the Money Guy show likes to call this, the messy middle, or everybody in their 30s. People in their 30s have a median net worth of $91,181. A company with an average annual salary of anywhere between $52,936 up to $63,596. Now, this decade is all about staying on top of your finances. The 30s is when life tends to slap you right across the face. Maybe now you've got to go get a house. Maybe you've had a couple children, your family's growing, and maybe your job is demanding more and more out of you. As long as you can stay on top of your finances and not let everything get too out of control, you'll be just fine. And here's some tips to help you out. Number 1 is gonna be to pay off all of your high interest rate debt. And this is probably gonna be all of your debt except for your mortgage if you have one. Paying off your high interest rate debt is just gonna free up your income, so then you can deal with all of these life slaps that are gonna happen in your 30s. And speaking of dealing with all the things that come up during this time, tip number 2 is going to be fully fund an emergency fund. Now, this is going to be subjective for every person watching this video, but experts usually say you should have anywhere between 3 and 6 months of expenses saved up in a separate savings account that is used only for emergencies. Tip number 3 for those of you this applies to is going to be start funding the 529 account for your kids' college. A 529 plan is a special account that the government allows you to put money into post-tax money, which grows tax-free, and then all of the money that grows within that account can be used only on school-related expenses. So you can think of this kind of like a Roth IRA, but for school. Moving on to the next decade, people in their 40s have a median net worth of $185,430, and that is accompanied with an annual salary of anywhere between $63,596 and $64,428. Typically, people in their 40s are going to be earning the most amount of money that they've ever earned before, so I'm going to give you some tips to help you maximize that. First off, you've got to be getting your retirement savings up to at least 25% of your gross income.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Now, I know I always used to get confused when people were like, save 25% of your gross annual income, and I'm like, what does that even mean? I am so confused. But I'm gonna give you guys an example to help you out with that. So let's say that you make the median income and your salary is $65,000 per year. This means that you should be saving at least $16,250 per year, or 25% of that gross $65,000. Breaking that down a step further, every single month you should be saving $1,355. Now, your take-home pay on a $65,000 salary, depending on your specific state and circumstances, of course, will be around $50,000 or so, or $4,150 every single month. So in this case, you'll be saving $1,355 per month for retirement out of your $4,150 per month take-home pay, which will calculate to a 33% of your take-home pay, or 1/3 of the money you bring in every month you should be putting away for retirement. Now, that was just a simple example to help you guys understand some of the terminology and the difference between your gross income and your take-home pay. So I recommend you guys go out and run your own numbers to help you better budget for what you'll have to be saving to get to that 25% mark. Moving on to tip number 2, this is also going to be pretty subjective, but if you're looking to go buy a house, now would be the time to start saving up for that down payment. Again, everybody's going to be slightly different for this category, so I recommend running your own numbers to help you better budget for your own situation, but here's some general tips to help you along the way. The first guideline is that you're going to try to save up at least 20% down for whatever house you're going to buy. Next, experts recommend that your housing expenses not exceed 25% of your take-home pay. Housing expenses are going to include your mortgage payment plus any insurance and property taxes that you have on the property. For now, you can leave out any repairs and maintenance and just use your emergency fund if anything major pops up. Now, 25% is a good guideline, and if you can make that work, the more power to you. But with mortgage rates where they are right now and housing prices the highest they've been in a long time, this may be difficult. For the current situation, I would say that you can go over 25%, but in no way should it ever exceed 40% of your take-home pay. I also recommend that if your interest rate is above 6%, try to get a 15-year mortgage so that you can pay this off as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you can get an interest rate lower than 6%, you can do a 30-year mortgage and lower that monthly payment. Again, buying a house is probably gonna be the biggest purchase that you guys make in your entire life. So run your numbers, make sure you measure twice and cut once so you get this one right. Moving on to people in their 50s, their median net worth is gonna be $299,607. Accompanying this is going to be an annual salary of anywhere between $64,428 and $63,336. And then I'm going to group people in their 60s along with this category for the tips. So people in their 60s have a median net worth of $384,849. And that's accompanied with an average annual salary of somewhere between $63,336 and $54,184. Now, this is going to be the age just before retirement, or maybe just at the beginning of your retirement. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips to help you out when you're there. So for everybody over the age of 50, you're going to be wanting to assess your current financial situation so then you can best prepare for the retirement that lies ahead. You're gonna wanna identify when and where you wanna retire to see how much money you're gonna need to spend each and every year. And in doing this, you're gonna have to differentiate between how much you absolutely need to have in retirement, so food, shelter, water, and then how much you want to have in retirement, vacations, golf, sports, whatever. I recommend going out and seeking help from a financial advisor because they'll sit down with you and actually plan out what your retirement's gonna look like, and it'll help you not stress about whether or not you have enough money or not. After you've assessed your current financial situation and you've taken the time to see where you actually wanna go in your retirement, now's the time to see if you're behind, really buckle down and get going towards saving up for that retirement that you want. And then on the flip side, if you're way ahead and you have enough money already or you're really close, maybe you can ease off the gas a little bit or maybe even retire earlier if that suits you. Wherever you guys currently are in life, I hope this video was informational or at least was entertaining and you guys had a good watch. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you could do the stuff that's on the screen down here below me, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.